Hey everyone, good morning. It's Rebecca Undum, and you are watching Rebecca Undum Live, the weekly Facebook show to help you live big in your small town. Again, Happy New Year. It's the 8th of January. Last Monday, we went live. I was live with you from a hotel lobby. Now I'm back in my office where it's just a little easier to stay on track and not get so damn distracted. So for those of you that joined in, it was awesome to see you all. But we're only a week into the new year. And hey, good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Rhonda. And so a couple things. Today we're talking about how to redefine success for yourself, which I think if any of us have experienced that fear of disappointing people when we don't kind of fall in line, this is for you. We're going to get to that in just a minute. I wanted to share one thing, just that overall, one of the big changes that you're going to see with kind of everything that I do in 2018 is that every month I'm going to have a different theme. And everything that we talk about, good morning, Deborah, everything that we talk about here at the Facebook Live show, I'm going to end up also creating just one major blog post a month. It'll be big. It'll be, not like a quick hit, because that's what these are for. The blog posts are going to be more in depth, and it's all going to focus on that topic for the month. And I'll just tell you, if any of you are running side hustle businesses, or you're running businesses of your own of any kind, and you do social media or you do content management, oh my gosh, make themes. Make themes for yourself and for your followers, people that hang with you. It is so brilliant. And it's not like it's novel or revolutionary, but I never did it before. And it's made a huge difference. It's like literally, there's always so many things and so many ideas in my head. And this is just like, it keeps it focused. It keeps it focused in one direction. And this month we're talking about goals. Now I can barely say the word goals because it always conjures up the memory of, corporate world where you went through those very painful, smart goal setting sessions and oftentimes ended up with something that you really didn't give a crap about anyway. So I struggle with that, but I don't care. I think it is very important at the start of a new year to think about what you want to create, what you want to accomplish, and who the person that you want to become in 2018. And so that's where my brain goes when we think about goals. Good morning, Christy. Happy to have you here. Okay, so this month, that's what we're talking about. It's really about setting intentions. And so everything we talk about for the rest of the month will be focused kind of around that topic. And I want to remind you, for those of you that are joining here, stay tuned until the end, because I'm doing a lot of new stuff this year and I want to tell you all about it. Plus there's a really cool freebie that you can get your hands on. Okay. All right. So with that, as everyone's coming on here, let's get started. So we're going to talk a bit right now about redefining success. Okay, so when I did my book launch back last year, my book launch party, I had created like a little overview, it was like a little session that we did. And these were a couple of slides from it that I shared, and I thought, well, this is perfect because this is exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so you can't really read that probably, or maybe you can. Yeah, you probably can. Okay, so this was my plan. I think, okay, so I grew up in this little town, right? I'm back in this small town, which we're gonna talk about that in just a second. I grew up in a town of 1,800 to 2,000 people. I loved my upbringing, right? I felt secure and I felt safe and I felt loved, and I had a wonderful family and our community was wonderful. But like the plan was not to come back here and live here. Like I had shit to do. Okay, so here's the plan. Okay, this was my idea of a plan. First of all, note, you can see that my plan is a fairly linear process, right? Like literally in my head, my young, naive mind, my life was meant to be step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right? Yeah, I know you guys are probably all laughing like really kid, but come on, this will set the tone for what we're going to talk about. So it was like, go to college, get a great job, climb the ladder. Like what ladder? I don't know. I was just going to climb a ladder. Get married, have kids, be happy, and then retire in Mexico. Done. How long this takes, I didn't know, but this was in my mind, the idea of the steps that smart girls take, because that's the other thing. A lot of this stems from when we think about how we're defining success for ourselves, it comes down to what we think matters in terms of what a successful person is or does. And for me, it was always, what does a smart girl do? Well, here's my reality. It's a hot mess. Not only is it not a linear process, there are twists and turns at every single steps. So I did go to college. I did get married. I became a banker. I moved to Montana. I worked for a large bank. Then I moved back to Fargo. Then I returned to banking. I was a banker. I was in financial services. Then I had a literal identity crisis. I'm just running you quick through this so you know like what this looks like. Then we moved back to Oaks. I mean, this was my identity crisis. Like, holy crap. I was a chief pumpkin officer. That's a whole story for a different time. My mom started a pumpkin patch. That's what brought us back. I became a mom. Then I became a farmer's wife, all kind of at the same time. I started working with Dale Carnegie, which was an amazing opportunity. Took a nonprofit role. Then I had another kid. It was like thing after thing after thing after thing. But I always joke, but then I wrote a book and now here we are, right? So what happened to me? What happened to my plan? And does the fact that my plan didn't pan out the way I thought it would, and it looks like this now, this was my reality, this is what my life actually looks like, does that now mean that I'm not successful? And I'm telling you, in my mind, and a lot of this will be based on your personality, but those of us that we believe that success is like, you're here, you want to be there, get there, boom, you're successful. We are missing the entire point. And so I want to just share that with you because if I can speak to anything, I can talk about what it really means to redefine success for yourself. Because the truth is that plan, it really wasn't my plan. It was what I thought I was supposed to do. So how do we break free of that? How do we actually define for ourselves what success can look like? Okay, I've got two main things. There's two main things we need to look at, and then there's a few questions that you can answer for yourself because we're in this period of goal setting, intention setting, resolution making, whatever you want to call it. And all I can say is that if anything on that list for this year, for 2018, that you are going to chase down with all of your time and all of your energy and all of your attention, if there's anything on that list that is not truly what you want, why are you wasting your most precious resources, mostly your energy, your attention, your time, of course, on those things? How do we figure out what we really ought to be doing instead of what we think we're supposed to do? Here's a couple ideas. The first thing, and I've got my notes again, so I stay on track for you, because this is what I'm going to say. Disappointing people is always hard. And that's kind of what the rub is, right? This plan, now I don't know, like, I don't think my parents are like royally disappointed in me or anything, but we create these plans and these ideas of, who was disappointed in me along this way? When I started climbing, it's hard to do this when it's backwards. When I started climbing the ladder and then I eventually left that place of employment, a lot of people thought I was selling out. A lot, especially then I moved back here and a lot of people went, oh, really? Well, that's sad because we thought you were really going to be something. And that was that identity crisis I had. Like, what does this mean for me? And who am I now? And am I successful anymore? Because I certainly didn't feel it. So disappointing other people, especially if it ends up being family, it's hard and it hurts. But I will tell you, in the long run, disappointing yourself is much, much harder to face every single day. And so how do we do this? What do we do? So the first thing is to really think about the external factors that are driving your idea or helping you define your idea of what success is. So if you're feeling less than successful than you really want to be in some area of your life, and again, we're women, right? So this could be your health. It could be your community involvement. It could be your job. It could be your marriage. It could be the way you parent. And if you feel less than in any of those roles, the first thing to do is to ask who defined the standard for you. What is the standard? What do you really think is success in that specific area of your life? And who defined it for you? So really think about this. We've got our friends, the people we spend time with, right? We've got our family. And they all kind of shape and mold the way we think about things. You've got your neighbors, the people that you are keeping up with, if that's your hang up. And then we've got social media, right? And just society in general, the constant push for more, for better, for nicer. It is a trap that is so easy to fall into. Hey, Lindsay, thanks. I'm glad that you think so. This is tough stuff. And I still struggle with this every damn day, but I always want to tell everybody that Those of you that hang out with me and you get value from the stuff that I share, I am not some sort of guru here. Like, I literally am fighting for this stuff in my own life every single day. And so really my goal is just to share the best of what I think is working. And also when it sucks and I'm struggling, because it's really hard. So get really clear with yourself about who is driving that for you. What are the external factors outside of you? Because the truth is, we've got to fight against that. We've got to set in our mind that that is not what I actually need. That is not I'm not going to let those things drive my life, but you've got to get clear on who you're fighting and what you're fighting against. Okay. And then the second thing is to really then embrace your internal drive. What is it that you really want? So you look outside of yourself first off, and you realize that you've got to fight against that. Really, truly fight against it, and then turn inside and say, well, what can I embrace and what can I enhance? So here are 3 questions. And I literally, if you haven't gotten to your intention setting part of your world yet, for 2018, I seriously encourage you to sit your butt down with a blank piece of paper and answer these questions. So again, for those of you that are just joining, you're looking at external factors. Who is it that has defined success for you in the area of your life that you're feeling like you're struggling, or you just don't feel like you're killing it like you want to? And then the second thing is looking inside. And here are the 3 questions you can ask yourself. Take out a piece of paper and write down, what are the 3 most important things to me right now? Because what's really important about this is, again, going back to my plan and then my reality, right? Like the giant hot mess of what happened. The reason we have to do this so often is because stuff changes. And every twist and turn that comes into our space, and you're standing at a fork in the road and you're like, okay, do I do this or do I do that? Every choice that we make changes who we are. And that's the thing about plans. I'm a planner. I love to have ideas and plans and then execute them and feel great about that. But at the end of the day, I don't know what future me is going to want, because I don't know all the things that are going to happen to me between now and future me. So 5-year plans, 10-year plans, great, get them on paper, but damn, don't beat yourself up if they don't happen. Because the other big thing with all of this, and I think women, I'm like, I can imagine all of you watching along, and I'm looking right at you, and I hope that you hear me, that you can change your mind. If you had a plan of something you wanted to accomplish and you even got there and you accomplished it, and you still have that nagging feeling of just like something's missing or this isn't quite right, screw what everyone else thinks about the decision to walk away from it. At any point, you can walk away. You can change your mind about certain things. There are some things that are pretty dang hard to change your mind about, but I'm talking about just living your life. Okay, so the reason you have to do this more often than just like one time in a 5-year period is because we change all the time. Every little thing that happens to us, it builds our character. So the first question is, what are the 3 most important things to me in my life right now at this moment in time? Number 2, answer the question, when I picture myself succeeding. Again, and I would encourage you, instead of just big picture succeeding, I kind of talked at the beginning that there are areas of our life that we tend to focus on. Health being a big one, especially in the new year. Marriages, love relationships. If you're a parent, certainly that's a thing. Spirituality, your connection with your creator or whatever that looks like for you, is often an area people want to bolster. Pick an area and focus on that, because this is an applicable process. You can use it over and over. So the second thing is, when I picture myself succeeding in this area, I see myself feeling and being X, Y, and Z, and complete at least 3 things that you expect yourself to feel when you're standing in a place of success in that specific area that you identified. And then number 3, if I live to be 100, I'll feel most proud of what? Seriously, just taking the time to focus on what really, really matters to you. And then every single time, okay, so then if you get into goal setting or intention setting or whatever, all I'm going to say is anything that you set out to do this year, should be about bringing more of those things into your life, or honoring those things better, or giving more of your time and attention to those things. Because here's the scary truth. Where we spend our time is a reflection of what we care about. There is no, and we want to say, well, yeah, but no, but I care about all the things. You can only have one major priority. That's why it's called a priority. And instead we try to delude ourselves into thinking that we'll be happy if we can just carve enough of ourselves up to all of the stuff. And realistically, that's not how it works. Our time and our energy is precious, the most precious resource we have. And where we give it is indicative of what we really care about. So I'm going to just challenge you on this. Was money on your list? You know, you ask, what are the 3 most important things to me? Is money on your list? I don't give a crap if it is. This is zero judgment. And this is the thing. So often we don't even want to be honest with ourselves. If you really care about making a crap ton of money, who am I to judge that? Who is anybody to judge that? The whole point is success is personal. And what you want is what success is. What you want for yourself, that's the only way to determine what success is for you. When we constantly look outside of ourselves and we constantly think, well, what is she doing? And what are they doing? And how are they doing this? And, you know, oh, they got a new car. And how did they afford that? And you're constantly looking side to side instead of focusing on what you're here to do. That's when we unravel, and that's when we stop caring, and that's when goals fall apart. That's why goal setting to me has always been just a total crapshoot, because people don't do the hard work of thinking about what they really believe about themselves right now and knowing what they need to change to who the person is that they need to become to achieve what they want to achieve. So, real quick recap. There's just 2 things you need to do. 2 areas you need to focus on to think about how to define success for yourself. One is look outside of yourself and pay attention to what are the external factors that are driving what you think is important. And recognizing that that's stuff that we get to control and we got to fight against it. I do this all the time because I'll tell you guys a couple things. Hey, Danny, I love you. I love it. She's like, good shit. Good shit, my friend. Good. Because this is how I want you to feel as like fired up as I get about this stuff. Because it's seriously so important. Okay, so I'm going to share just a couple things. I seriously struggle with the whole concept of keeping up with the Joneses. It's a real struggle for me. Okay. I will find myself, especially right now, like I've got some serious get shit done things with money happening right now. Like I'm focused and I know what I need to do and I know what I want to do. And I know the person I want to become. Okay. That's the big thing. And my son wanted a specific gift for Christmas. And as soon as he put it on his list, I was like, ain't no way, child. You're not getting that. Like, I'm not buying you that. And he even put in our local paper his letter to Santa, and everyone gave me grief about it. He said in his letter to Santa, Santa, I'm reaching out to you because my parents told me they're not going to buy me what I want, and so maybe you can help me. Like, really, these are these hard like conversations. All of his friends, okay, so there's like 3 friends. There was like 3 friends that already had this thing and 3 friends that didn't. All of his friends got this gift. He is the only one of his little crew that doesn't have this thing. It hurts, right? Even my husband looked at me during Christmas and was like, should we just buy it for him? And I said, hell no, we're not doing this. I looked at him and I said, if it was just our family moving through the world and we didn't, and there was no, this is all external pressure. So that's an example for you guys to think about. Like when you have that feeling of like, oh gosh, you know, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe this isn't good. Ask yourself, where is this really coming from? If I was alone in the world in this, would I care? Would it matter? It probably wouldn't. So those external things are really important to get a grip on, because we can't live our life worried about what other people are doing, because we have no idea what's happening behind the doors of any of the people that we compare ourselves to. We just have no idea. We imagine it's all lovely and amazing, right? But I think about, like, for me, going on having trips and experiences with my kids isn't about what they get. Like, stuff doesn't matter that much to me, but experiences do. If stuff matters to you, that's totally okay. It's totally okay. It's the whole thing is just getting clear with what it really is that matters. So you look at the external stuff, and then internal, you ask yourself the 3 most important things to you right now in your life. The second is, when I see myself succeeding in this area of my life that I'm focusing on, I feel this, this, and this. Get it down to like 3 things you want to feel. And then the third question is, if I live to be 100, what am I going to be the most proud of? And all of this points to, who do you need to become? Because to me, I'll just tell you, success comes when I stay focused on the fact that every single thing that happens to me is an area to get better. It's like an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to develop, and none of it's bad, as long as I choose to see it that way. That is success for me, just big picture in life. I've got specific ideas for, all of the areas of my life. But 2018 has just started, and you guys, anybody can sit down and do these exercises. And if you don't like where you're at, change it. Okay? So, that's what I've got for you today. And again, I just want to remind you that your ideal definition of success for yourself may not look like anybody else's. And that's okay, because no one else is going to do it. You are. Okay. All right. So there's a couple things. I want to share with you my intentions with my business for 2018, because that's why you're here. I want to get you your freebie, but I want to tell you the things that are coming up. I have 2 primary intentions for my Rebecca Undum LLC business in 2018. The first is to have more fun. I think sometimes I get overwhelmed with, for sure, the technical aspects, because I'm so rural and everything has to be, I always want things to work. And a lot of times things just don't work, and then I get overwhelmed and I get crabby. So the first is I just want to focus on bringing more fun into my business, and that's going to show for you. I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll be having fun, right? And the second intention is I really want to bring a higher touch quality to my business. I work with women predominantly that live in rural and isolated communities, small communities. And I am isolated out here 110 miles from Fargo, the biggest city in North Dakota. And I struggle sometimes with wanting to be right where you're at, but it being seriously, feasibly almost impossible, because we're spread all over the place. So here are a few things that I'm going to be doing to bring more of those 2 intentions to fruition this year. 1, I will, throughout a couple times this year, I will have a couple of 5-day groove experiences. These will still be virtual. In December, I had shared a 5-day video training series, because I thought people just need to interact more with me. But they were pre-recorded videos. And so as I started thinking about what do I want to bring into my business, I was like, that's not high touch. But being in an actual 5-day experience with me, it'll still be virtual, so you can still do it from wherever. But there'll be a pre-recorded video saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. But then there's also a live component, and we'll be working through a process together in 5 days. There will be a pop-up, like a Facebook group that's just dedicated for that. But that will give you a chance to actually work alongside me, and it'll be totally free. So that's one thing, and kind of in lieu of that video training series. The second thing that I'm so freaking excited is that I'm going to host 2 virtual retreats this year. And again, they're virtual because feasibly we have to do it that way, but they're going to be 4-hour blocks of time. And here's how we're going to make them high touch. When you register for your virtual retreat, you are going to get a physical box of goodies sent to you. And it's going to be things that I curate that support either just the mission, support what we're doing, support the workshop itself. And we're literally going to start our retreat together by unboxing that box together. And they'll be like labeled. So we'll open things kind of throughout, and those will be the things that you get to keep as part, and you'll use them, some of them, throughout the actual workshop itself. I'm so flipping excited about that. I can hardly stand it, because who doesn't love to get real physical things in the mail? And yet you still can be in your jammies at home, right? So be on the lookout for those and all the information about that. The spots to that will be limited because boxes of stuff are expensive to ship. Yeah, so that's kind of something I've got to work through, but it's okay. It's going to be super fun. So the first one is going to be held in March. So be on the lookout for that as I get the marketing kind of rolling for that. And then the third, And you know, one of the women there was there at the very first one. But the very first thing I ever did when I started my business and I left my full-time job was I held a live retreat. It's been 4 years since I've held a live retreat, and so I'm putting one back in for this year. So it'll be this fall, we'll have a live retreat. And by live retreat, I simply mean we will all be together in one location for a weekend. And the reason it has to be a weekend is because if we're going to all get to one location, we got to make it worth our while. And you've got to have enough time away from the bullshit and responsibilities. It's not bullshit, it's just life, but away from your roles, away from your responsibilities, to actually unplug and get into yourself, like working on what the things that we're going to work on. So that'll be another really fun thing. I got a lot of stuff to figure out with that, but I'm excited to bring it back into the fold. I think it's time. So with that, I just want to say that be intentional about what it is that you want to create for yourself. Decide who you need to be and then act as if you are. It is actually that simple and that straightforward. So two things I've got a freebie for you. The first thing I want to remind you is that I have a free group. It's called the Groove Seekers Community. There's a lot of fun dialogue and discussions and posts that happen in there. It's a great place to ask for help if you're struggling. So please, I will drop the Facebook link in the comments here when we're done, and I would invite you to join us there. And then the second thing, I'm super pumped about this. I'm actually going to show you mine. Not that you'll be able to actually read it or see it, but on my phone there, can you see that little quote? I have designed a wallpaper for your desktop. It's on my desktop too, or your mobile device, to support every single month's theme. So this month's theme is goals, and you know how I feel about goals. So I created a desktop and a mobile device wallpaper every single month. If you go out and you snag it, I'll put it's by the way, it's just RebeccaUndom.com/groove wallpaper, but I'll put it in the comments as well. Go out and you get January's, and then every month at the start of the month, I will email you with the new one for February. And so I'm going to tell you, like, I get it. This was risky because, like, oh, I have my kids and my cat are on my phone. Keep it on there for just a week. The whole thing is having that message come back to you every single day. It's a good way to reinforce what you're trying to accomplish. And so I encourage you to go out and snag January's wallpaper. It's fun. And I will try to make them not only fun, but meaningful. So when you look at it, you feel something. It's that hit of inspiration. And then knowing that a whole bunch of us have it on our phones too, it also creates connection. And that is what I'm all about. So good gravy. This got long. I apologize for that. Lindsay, I love that you want to join that. And Lisa too, so exciting. So you guys just keep an eye out. And then Danny, thank you. The live retreat. It is a game changer. It's amazing what you can bust through in a weekend when you actually give yourself the time. And so I'm so pumped about all the things to come in 2018. And I hope that you are equally pumped for what you're going to create. Decide what kind of a person you want to be and then act as if you are. And that's where the what would blank do comes into play. Ask yourself, what would that person do right now? It will always give you at least the alignment where you know that you're not avoiding or procrastinating. You're thinking about, who do I want to be and what would a person that wants to be that, what would they do right now? Okay, so that's what intention setting is. Hey, Tiff, I'm excited for this year too. It's going to be awesome. So with that, groove on, everybody. Take great care of yourselves. And if you need anything from me, any topics you need me to tackle, you need a speaker for your next event, for heaven's sakes, reach on out, okay? Have an awesome week, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.